And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
Today's guest is Christa Marie. Christa had a near-death experience where she came face-to-face with God, and now we're going to learn about it. Christa, thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I've had two near-death experiences. The first one was in 1998, and it was 8 weeks into nursing school, and I was speeding to go pick up my daughter, and I hit a pothole, and I was going 99 miles an hour. And I went into oncoming traffic with a Mack truck coming probably about 45, 50 miles an hour. And it was so bizarre because everything went into slow motion. I actually started having time to think oh, if I can make it to the ditch, I'll be okay. I won't get hit by this truck. But then all of a sudden I heard this beautiful, sweet voice say, "You're going to be okay." And all of a sudden peace fell over me and I went to sleep. It was as if I went to sleep. And I was in this place of pure, unconditional love. Everything that I felt was just really, really safe. And then I woke up and I didn't have any injuries on my body, not even a cut or a bruise. And my car looked like it had been ruined. It looked like it had been crushed by a wrecking ball. But I was rushed to the hospital because I had a really severe head injury and I lost my long-term memory and my short-term memory. And I stayed in school because I really didn't, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just thought I'm just going to keep going to school. But even though I didn't have a long-term memory or a short-term memory, I started receiving downloads of all of the information that I needed to pass my classes. I would have dreams about the tests and what the answers were and what I was going to get a score on. I mean, it was just amazing how I was able to make it through nursing school because I couldn't remember anything that anybody said to me after 1 second. And if I was shown something visually, I could only remember it for 3 seconds. And so I made it through nursing school. I passed my boards and, these gifts come in. And then fast forward to April of 2020, I have another near-death experience.
All right, before you start that one, sorry to interrupt you, but before you start that one, let me ask you some questions about the one in your first one.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first one, it seemed like you fell asleep and then you kind of woke up in a place that was super peaceful or there was an amazing amount of love, right?
Yes.
Do you remember what that place looked like?
It was pink. It was this beautiful crystalline pink light. It was light, but it was pink. And I associate pink with love. And that's what it felt like. It was warm. It was so, it was just so loving. I can't really even explain or compare it to something here on earth because there is nothing on earth that can really compare to that feeling.
Did you realize that you had died or were in an accident at that point?
No, I didn't. I was just soaking up all of this loving energy that was around me. I never felt anything like that before. But it was just this very dense energy, but it was just really loving.
Mm-hmm.
but I did not know that I left.
I think you kind of mentioned you woke up from a dream. Did it feel like you were in a dream in that place, or?
Yeah, it felt like I was dreaming. Yeah. But there wasn't anything happening in the dream other than I just felt all this love and comfort. And I didn't have any fear at all. None, no fear.
And then when you came back, did you just wake up in your body in the hospital?
I woke up in my car. Somebody was knocking on the window, and it was actually a paramedic that was a block and a half away. He was on his day off and he had heard the wreck, and he came up the street and started doing an assessment on me. And other cars had pulled over because they were like, what is this girl doing? She's driving her car into oncoming traffic. Nobody could make any sense of it. And he started doing an assessment with me, asking me like the typical, what's your age? Who's the president? What year it is? I had no idea. I didn't know any of that. I only knew two things. I was going to be a nurse and I had a daughter. That's all I knew.
Interesting. Did you kind of have amnesia of your entire life? Like you didn't know your name, your parents?
It was gone. All of it.
How did you function?
Well, I have a really brilliant daughter, and even she was in second grade. Even though she was in second grade, like she's just very brilliant. So she helped quite a bit, but also I, like as far as like getting through nursing school, I could not write and listen anymore. I was dyslexic. When I would write, everything just looked like scribbles. And I started having dreams about the tests and what the answers were. And if the teacher would ask a question, I would receive the information, and I would just say it. But seconds later, like I forgot what she was asking. So I was just living really second by second. And, but I also, something really amazing happened. Like all the fear was gone. Because when you lose your memory, you don't have any worries. You don't have any sadness. You don't have any anger. Like it's all wiped away with all of those memories. And that is actually a gift, because if you're not in your head, then you're living from your heart. And that just, I think because I wasn't in my head and I was completely, the only place I could live from was my heart, that opened up the door to having access to the infinite source knowledge that's available to us. Because there was no overthinking. I wasn't worried. Like if I hadn't lost my memory, I would be really stressed. Nursing school is really tough. It's very challenging. And just, having all the other daily life struggles when you're a single parent and you're going through school, but none of that was there. I just was living moment by moment.
Did you not tell anybody that you had lost your memory?
Well,
especially the teachers?
I was taking a test and I am reading these words and I don't know what any of them mean. And I'm like, wow. So I went up to her and I said, what does this word mean? And she knew instantly. She's like, something's not right, because the first 8 weeks of school, I could take a test within, like 5 minutes and get an A on it. And here I am, I'm asking her, like, I don't understand what this word means. And I remember specifically, one of the words was elimination. And after class, she met with me and she said, what's going on? And I said, well, I was in a wreck and I lost my memory. It was like I knew that much. And she said, well, maybe you should stay out of school and wait until you heal. And for whatever reason, that just didn't make sense to me. And I said, I can't. I have to stay in school. I just said, I'm going to be a nurse and I have a daughter and I have to be able to take really good care of her. So she took me to the office where they do testing to see what you can qualify for. Like if you have to like qualify for like special accommodations. And the score that I got, the woman says, you're scoring in the range of someone who's mentally delayed. And she goes, I don't know how you're going to make it through nursing school. And I said, well, I just said, I'm going to be a nurse, and it was like seconds later, because I had just forgotten that she said, I don't know how you're going to make it. And I said, I'm going to be a nurse. So I was able to get notes and tape record the classes so that, I could just keep listening over and over and over. But I would forget to bring the recorder. I would forget where I put my notes. I mean, I had sticky notes all over the house with reminders. And, I would even forget that I wrote the sticky notes. It's really kind of it's just a miracle that I was able to get through the day. And even I went to the garage and the car wasn't there. And I told my daughter, somebody stole the car. And she was like, no, mom, you were in an accident. And she would get pictures out to try to help me remember, because I forgot everything about her, but I knew I had a daughter, but I didn't remember any of our memories. And I didn't remember her being born or any of her birthdays, any of that stuff. It's just gone. So thankfully, within a couple weeks of the accident, that's when all the downloads started coming in. And I also didn't have a filter, because you just don't think like, oh, if I say this, it might hurt that person's feeling, or there's just no thinking involved at all. So whatever I saw, I would say it. And whatever I thought, I would just speak it. And that is kind of another gift that came in, was I see the world through the eyes of a child. And so there's no judgment about anything or anyone. There's just pure love for everyone. So that's been a really incredible gift that came in. But just being able to pass all of my classes, because I would read and read and read all the time, but I never remembered what I was reading. And it would take me a while to take the tests. Like I had to be in a room that was completely silent. I couldn't have any distractions whatsoever. And that was one of the accommodations that they allowed me to have. And that was really helpful, because then I was just in that place of being able to receive all of the downloads, all of the information that was required so that I could pass my tests, because I didn't know what even the words meant when I would read them, but I was given everything I needed at the moment.
When did your memory return?
My short-term memory came back 2 years after the accident. My mom took me to a healing mass, and during the service, I started feeling this tingling sensation like all over my face. And then I felt this swirling around my brain. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is happening? And 3 days later, I got my short-term memory back. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I just remembered what somebody said. Because, I would repeat myself constantly, like, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? What are we doing? What are we, it was just constantly just repeating myself. So when I got my short-term memory back, I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So my daughter, we looked through the pictures and I still didn't remember the past. So I was still like living very much in the present. And I thought, I can do this. You can get through life with a short-term memory only. Mm-hmm. And it was 11 years later when my long-term memory returned. And the way that came back, I had a hip injury and I didn't want to have surgery. I just couldn't even imagine having hip replacements. So I just trusted. I heard somebody invented something that will heal this injury without surgery. And I thought, okay, I trust that. Like I trust what I hear when it's a download. And I met a woman who had these devices that treat your body with the exact match of energy that your body is made of. And I had 8 treatments. So I did treatments twice a day. And on the 3rd day of my treatments, it would have been 6 treatments in, I felt this terrible pain in my head. Even though my hips were being treated, I told her, I said, I was in this car accident and this is exactly where I hit my head on the window. And she said, oh, the energy will go where it needs to go if there's a repair that's needed. And I thought, okay, great. And after that 6th treatment, I was in the car, I was talking to my daughter, and all of a sudden my mind went blank. I was asking really bizarre questions. And she said, Mom, you are talking exactly the way you were when you lost your memory. And then within like seconds, all of a sudden it was like a downpour of information. And it was like, if you can just imagine like a bunch of stars falling from the sky all at the same time, that's what was going on in my brain. Everything was just coming back. And I just said, oh my gosh, I remember when we went to Florida. I remember this. I remember that. It was amazing. So that's when my memory came back, and it only took 3 days.
What was the name of that treatment that you got?
Acuscope myopulse.
Acuscope myopulse.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with acupuncture?
No, it uses a specific microcurrent and biofeedback, and it resonates with your body. So anything that you're needing to be healed, this energy will resonate with it. And it gives your body the energy that it needs so that it can repair itself. And it works really, really fast. I mean, I couldn't believe it in 3 days that I got my long-term memory back.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I bought that equipment and I thought, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to turn lemons into lemonade here. I have to start treating people because there's a reason why I found those machines. So I purchased them and then I started doing sessions.
All right. Well, tell us about your second NDE.
Okay. So that was really pretty recent. It was in April of 2020. In March, I got really sick. I was exposed to mold and, one night I really couldn't breathe and my pulse was getting really thready, like very weak. And I could feel my blood pressure dropping. And I just knew that I was dying. So I called out to my divine team of medical angels. And all of a sudden, it was like, boom, just like that. I was out. And the room was bright white. And there was a team of angels. and they opened up my soul. Like my soul rose above my body. They opened it up and they were pulling things out and they were fixing things. It was like they were doing like soul surgery, I guess I would call it. And then they put me back together. And then I was face to face with God, and I was standing in front of a gate. And one side of the gate was open. And God said, "It is a mess down there." And we had a conversation about that, about what a mess it was on earth. And I just said, I know I can't leave it like this. I have to go back. And I looked down at my body and I thought, okay, I have to go back. I'm not done yet. And then I floated through this time of like nothingness. It was just very peaceful. And it was like just floating through the sky. There wasn't any sound or anything like that. And then I was back in my body, and I woke up the next morning, like it was light out. So, and I knew that I had been healed. I knew that I had been healed enough to just keep going. I should have done a little more bargaining when I was there. Like, if I'm going back, just heal me.
So can you tell us what God looked like?
God was this enormous, he looked like energy, and that's kind of hard to explain, but it was this enormous being. And there was gold. The color gold the gate was gold, and there was like gold all over. And then God was just like this. It was like really bright white. But he was like enormous. Just enormous.
Was he humanoid shaped, or was he like a ball of light?
He was more of a ball of light.
Did he identify himself as God, or did you just have a knowingness that this was God?
I just knew it was God because I had heard his voice before. And it was a male voice that I heard like years and years and years ago. And it was the same voice. But it's like this booming voice. But it's also very loving.
When you hear it, do you hear it and feel it, like all one mixed together, or did you separately just hear it?
It was like you and I just having a conversation like this. But there was a lot of a peaceful feeling. It was very, very peaceful. And there was so much love, but there was also concern. I was being given a choice to leave or go back. But it was the concern that I heard in God's voice that I just thought, I can't leave now. I can't. I have to go back.
While you were there, did you see any other beings like angels or Jesus?
I saw over on the other side of the gate, it was like this gold light, and there were angels there. There were like tons of angels, like the most brilliant, brightest white that you could ever imagine. But they weren't talking to me. They were on the other side of the gate.
Do you feel like that gate was a barrier, and if you crossed it, you weren't coming back?
Yes. I have been here so many times already. Like, when you have a deja vu, like, oh, that feels familiar. Like, no, you did this already. Like, that's what that is. And I knew, like, I just know, like, this is my last go around. I just know it. It's a very deep knowing. And I knew that if I went through that gate, that I wouldn't be coming back to Earth. I would be doing something else from another realm.
Interesting. Do you still believe that when you finally go back, you're going to another realm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any idea what realm that would be?
I would be in the realm with the angels.
So after you came back from this experience, did it change you in any way?
Yes, it did. When I came back, I started speaking another language, and I was told that it's the language of the light of the divine. And one day, it just like came out of my mouth and I couldn't stop speaking it. And I heard, "You are in Earth School." So that's where we all are. We are all in Earth School. So I was getting like more and more information. And my frequency has changed even more so since the first NDE, because now it seems like I'm even more sensitive to every single thing that's going on, like even things that are going on in other countries. I'm picking that up. If an animal is thinking something, I can communicate with the animals. If someone is feeling a certain emotion, then I experience that emotion as well. And that can be a little bit overwhelming because, I mean, I went to this store and I walked up to this specific rack and I felt all of the emotions of a previous person that had been standing there. And the best thing that I can do is just send them love and put this really bright white light there to transmute that energy.
So it sounds like from your experience, you've become super empathic.
Yeah, absolutely. And like over the top empathic. So I'm still trying to navigate the energies coming back to Earth. I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I have to be able to function. And in a world where there's so much stuff going on, I need to be able to figure out how I can just maneuver through my day without being so dramatically affected by it.
Do you have any other abilities like clairaudience, clairvoyance, or anything like that?
Yeah, all of that has come through really strong. I had quite a bit of that come in after my first NDE in 1998. But this time, everything has just been really amplified. Like, for example, well, I mean, other things have happened, like in addition to just being clairaudient and clairvoyant, like I can just see through buildings. And there's this knowing, like this very precise knowing. And I had a couple really amazing experiences. I was driving to the grocery store and I was at a red light and there was another car that came around and he stopped because his light turned red. So when mine turned green, he floored it and he drove his car actually right through mine. But I was in this place of like gratitude and just complete trust. And I was so connected to my heart that I actually became invisible. And I saw his face. He was like screaming, "Oh my God." And it was like the Matrix effect that happened. That's the only way I know how to describe it, but amazing things like that happen because it's like my frequency is different. So no matter what is going on around me, I am in this place of complete calmness and at peace. And there's just no fear of anything. Like all of that is gone.
It sounds like when you were having your conversation with God, that God was telling you everything is messed up down there, like the earth's in bad shape. And I felt like you were telling God, well, you're going to go fix it or try to help.
Yes. Yes.
What are you doing to help?
Well, I came back with the ability to heal people, sometimes by touching them, speaking this language. They call it a light language. Some people call it speaking in tongues. It's really the same thing, but it is a sacred language. And being able to access this knowledge that can help people and guide them. But the healing gifts are really incredible because I will go into a completely different dimension and my hands, like I can see what's happening with my hands. Like they will go into another dimension and they will go right. It's like I go right to the person and they're healed. The healing is just so profound and it's so fast. And I also work with people on an emotional level too, to clear whatever it is that they're hanging on to emotionally so that they can just set themselves free. And when I'm working with them, I receive downloads of information as to what to have them say so that they can clear themselves of it.
What is the most amazing healing case that you've seen yourself perform?
I would say there was a woman who she was in her 80s and she had dementia. And I was on the phone with someone and I started speaking this language. And within seconds, she fell asleep. And then she woke up 10 minutes later and she said, I remember everything. And she also had some issues with her leg and like the bone was crooked and there was something going on with her hip. And this was just all over the phone speaking this language and her leg straightened within really like seconds.
Have you had any negative after effects from these NDEs that you had to deal with?
Well, the negative aspect, I mean, it is challenging being back here on Earth because you go to a place and there's everything is really beautiful. And there's the only thing that exists there is love. There's no judgment. There's no anger. Like it is amazing. And then you come back down to Earth and there's all this chaos. You know, there's judgment and all this sadness and the worry and the anger, and coming back and feeling all of that, that is really challenging. But I think that's why God gave me all of these gifts so that I can help people clear that from them, because they don't have to hang on to that anger and the fear and the worry and the sadness. They just don't. And it goes pretty quick when we do healing work together. So it's really, it is challenging, like being back in a world where there's all of this division, because when you go to the other side, like there's nothing like that there. Earth is the only place that has that. None of the other planets.
Do you find it difficult, or did you find it difficult being here, being back in a place with almost no love compared to the amount of love there?
Yes. Yes. That is actually one of the reasons why I came back. Because I am pure love. I am unconditional love, and I hold no judgment. And it's like I was sent back on this mission to help other people get to that place. Because when one person can step into that place, it creates a shift. It's like a domino effect, and it starts raising the frequency because we're all connected. I will feel something that someone else is feeling like miles and miles away.
What is one way that a person can get as close as they can to pure love?
Well, that would be freeing themselves of judgment. Judgment against themselves and other people. If they can release that judgment, and see that every single one of us came from the same source. We all have that source energy within us. And if they can focus on that and realize that, everybody has these circumstances, and we take on beliefs, sometimes willingly and sometimes not so willingly. And it creates all these different emotions within us, and then it affects how we move forward in life. But if we can just move past and let go of that judgment, that would really set a person free, because then they would just see the truth of that person. Like, they aren't this circumstance. Or maybe if somebody's really angry, they would see like that person is really hurting inside, instead of judging them for how they're behaving.
What do you think inspires you about your experiences?
What inspires me is that I have a mission. I was given a mission when I came back here, and it is to help people heal on any level. It doesn't matter how deep it is. It doesn't matter if it's emotional or physical. That is my mission. And before my NDEs, I felt passionate about helping people. And I loved helping people, but this is different. This is at a soul level. It was like God gave me these gifts, and I'm back on earth. I agreed to come back, and it is a mission that has to be completed.
You mentioned earlier that your mother took you to Mass, and that's where you got your short-term memory back.
Yeah.
To me, that means that you may have grown up Catholic.
Yes.
What religion are you now, or are you just spiritual?
I did grow up in the Catholic religion, and I do not associate myself with any religious belief anymore. I am just spiritual. I believe I met God. I actually, when I came back to earth after the second most recent NDE, Jesus appeared to me in physical form. And that's really all there is. The religions are just something that man created, and that creates separation. Like this, people think their religion is the only one, and that's something that creates separation. And that isn't what we're supposed to do here on earth. We are supposed to unite and find balance.
Can you tell us more about what happened when you encountered Jesus?
Yes, it was really amazing. I was walking the labyrinth, and there's a labyrinth here in Phoenix, like 20 minutes away from me. And as soon as I got there, I heard, "This is holy ground." And I made my way to the labyrinth, and I walked it 3 times, because this is, I did this on my healing journey. Because when I came back, I wasn't completely healed. So I had a lot of healing to do. I walked it 3 times. And at the end, I just looked up, and there was Jesus. his body was in the physical form of a man, and he was above the ground. I could see his feet, his hands, his whole entire body, but his face was light. It was this bright white light just beaming from his face. And all I felt was love, absolute, pure, unconditional love. And I was so grateful it was such a gift for him to appear to me like that.
Did he say anything to you or just made an appearance?
He just made an appearance. So with him, it was more of a feeling and a visual, where when I saw God, I was speaking to him and there was a visual. But with Jesus, it was just being in his presence and seeing him physically, but then feeling all of that love, because that is what Jesus is. He is just pure love.
All right. We were talking earlier about the healings that you've done for people. If someone wants a healing from you, how do they contact you?
Really, I prefer that they just send me a text message and then I can reach out to them. Or they can send me an email.
Okay. Do you want to say your phone number and email online here, or you want me to post it in the description, or what would you like me to do?
I don't mind sharing it. My telephone is 480-459-8126. And my email is Christa Marie 47@yahoo.com.
Okay. Do you have a website?
I do. I have a website called healingheadtotoe.com, and it's the number 2.
What about a YouTube channel?
I do have a YouTube channel. I believe that's under Restorative Health Solution, singular. My web guy, he's going to be changing it, I think, to Christa Marie.
What about this? After watching this podcast, people may just want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I will answer any questions anybody has.
Do you have anything else that you're working on that you want us to know about?
Well, I am writing a book. It's in progress now. I'm in the middle of writing it. So hopefully it'll be done within a couple months.
Do you have any other paranormal experiences that you'd like to share?
Yes. I had an experience where I was in a restaurant and I said to the guy behind the counter, "Thank you. This food is so delicious." I was actually at Oh No Barbecue in Scottsdale. And my friend and we ate all of our food, and I took the tray up to the garbage and I picked up one of the styrofoam containers and I was just going to throw them away one at a time. We had eaten everything. And when I picked up the styrofoam container, it was heavy. And I thought, that's weird. We ate our food. And I opened it and it was full of meat, like full, like you can't even go in there and buy it like this. And we both looked at each other like, what is going on? And then I opened up the other container, and it was full. I had 2 containers full of meat. And I actually really did need more protein in my diet. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I am so grateful. Like it was a miracle. And I think it came from just being in such gratitude, because when you're in that place of gratitude, miracles happen. I mean, things just start flowing. That was really incredible. And another time I had said a prayer. because healing from mold, I mean, it's really challenging. It's painful. It's a lot of different things. And I had said a prayer and I asked to receive a rose to confirm that my prayer is going to be answered. And I went to the grocery store and I walked out and I saw this guy sitting against the wall, and he said, there was a rose on the ground, like the most beautiful, perfect rose I've ever seen in my life. And I said, where did that come from? And he said, it's for you. It's from God. And that happened twice. I found 2 of the most beautiful, perfect red roses. Just amazing things happen. I found a pine cone. I was walking and I found this adorable little pine cone and it was closed, and I knew that it was for me. I'm like, this is a message for me. And I picked it up and I held it in my hand and it opened. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I did some research on what pine cones mean, and they referenced enlightenment. And I thought, well, that's definitely applicable to everything that's been going on. Just incredible things like that happen. Things appearing like out of nowhere. Like I moved to another place and I thought, oh, I'm going to need a clothes hanger there, like an extra clothing thing. And I come in and there it was. It was just there. So just that ability to manifest things has been really amplified. And, but you can manifest the positive just as easily as the negative. So I'm just very mindful of living in the moment and staying connected to my heart.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, Christa, before I finish up, do you have one last positive message that you can share with everyone?
Yes, I do. All I can say is that if everyone can step into their hearts and live from that place, it will change your whole outlook on life completely. Just everything that's going on in the mind, it's really a distraction. But if you live from your heart, you will open and unlock these doors. You will open and unlock the magic that is waiting for you.
Thank you for that. And Christa, thank you so much again for being my guest. I really appreciate you and I wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Have a great rest of your day over there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.